Welcome back to Exposing Arizona. In this explainer, we are cutting straight through the noise to look at the exact math and the geography of the 2026 Republican primary for Arizona's Congressional District 5. Right now, voters are being pitched the illusion of a local grassroots campaign, but the reality is a frontrunner operating, quite literally, 1,500 miles away. We aren't here for the spin. We are going to strictly look at the raw timeline, the property records, and the campaign finance data shaping the final weeks of this race. So, here is the central anomaly we need to unpack. Can a candidate actually win a local Arizona election from 3 states away? We are watching someone try to lock down a highly localized U.S. House seat while basing his daily physical operations in the Deep South. To really grasp how strange this is, let's look at the actual playing field. Section 1, the CD5 primary race, a critical decision. District 5 is a fiercely safe Republican stronghold right in the East Valley. Incumbent Andy Biggs is stepping away to run for governor, which blows this seat wide open. In a district mapped like this, whoever wins the July primary is essentially guaranteed the seat in Washington. There is no real general election fight here. The field has totally consolidated into a brutal contrast between 2 guys. On one side, Mark Lamb. He's the former Pinal County sheriff, he's a reality TV star, and he's carrying the heavy institutional weight of a Donald Trump endorsement. On the other side is Daniel Keenan. He's a political newcomer, a blue-collar worker, and the CEO of a residential construction company called DK Builders. It is a direct, undeniable test of a national media brand against a guy just putting boots on the local ground. And the clock on this test is running out fast. Yes, the primary is technically July 21st, but the only date that actually matters in Arizona is June 24th. That is when early ballots drop directly into the mailboxes of East Valley voters. The window to physically shake hands and look constituents in the eye is slamming shut. The Tennessee campaign. This brings us to the core geographic contradiction of this entire race. During this absolutely critical pre-primary window of May and June 2026, the frontrunner has essentially vanished from the Arizona campaign trail. Look, over the years, Mark Lamb has systematically transformed his profile from a local public servant into a massive national media commodity. He parlayed his time as sheriff into an A&E series live PD and eventually launched his own streaming service, the American Sheriff Network. He built a corporate mechanism, American Sheriff LLC, to sell access, books, and apparel. His entire campaign strategy is banking on this massive digital footprint. But here is the catch. Right now, that digital footprint is being broadcast from exactly 1,500 miles away from the district. That is the driving distance from the East Valley to the rural town of Mitchie, Tennessee, because that is where Lamb has quietly set up his new daily base of operations. Let's look at what's actually happening in Tennessee. Lamb recently acquired a $3 million property footprint in Mitchie. While he is actively missing local campaign events in Arizona, he and his wife are pushing out daily YouTube vlogs from Tennessee. They are documenting their new ranch life, clearing out bees, and casually discussing plans to build a coffee shop, a soda bar, and host livestock rodeos out there. Now, Lamb has put out statements assuring Arizona voters his primary residence is still in Santan Valley. But you simply cannot ignore the visual contrast of him doing manual labor on a Tennessee ranch while the Arizona election clock ticks down to 0. Breaking down the finances. Okay, let's pull back the curtain on the corporate mechanism here. Because when you stack his reported income right next to these out-of-state real estate purchases, the math requires some serious explaining. Here is the raw financial reality from his own mandatory disclosures. Lamb reported making $163,000 as sheriff in 2024 and exactly $49,000 as a consultant in 2025 through American Sheriff LLC. Yet, he somehow just executed $3.05 million in Tennessee property acquisitions. Think about that for a second. A $49,000 reported consulting income buying up a $3 million real estate footprint. Property records show exactly how that gap got bridged. The 140-acre ranch, valued at $2 million, was financed through a private mortgage. The lenders holding the paper? Casey and Nicole Upshaw. They're a Queen Creek couple who are heavy financial backers of Lamb's campaign. They originated this loan through a newly formed company they call Venture Bros Lending. And it gets better. Records show the neighboring $1.05 million family compound, the place where Lamb says he plans to retire, was purchased without a recorded mortgage, meaning it was bought outright in cash. The opponent's advantage. It doesn't take a political genius to see that operating out of state backed by a highly unusual donor-funded mortgage, creates a massive void back home. And Daniel Keenan is stepping right into it. Just look at the campaign finance data. By the end of March 2026, Daniel Keenan had pulled in $1.57 million. Mark Lamb, he brought in just under $760,000. Let that sink in. The local homebuilder is outraising the national TV star by more than 2 to 1. And Keenan is taking that cash advantage and aggressively blanketing the district with ads, hammering Lamb on his absence and his scandals.
The contrast in their ground game is absolute night and day. On June 4th, the Arizona Clean Elections Commission held a debate for the CD5 candidates. Daniel Keenan showed up, stood alone at the podium for 30 minutes, and mapped out his policy positions. Mark Lamb? He completely skipped it. He's relying entirely on his YouTube output and his institutional endorsements, steering far clear of any local microphones. The misconduct allegations. Because, of course, staying 1,500 miles away also conveniently shields you from the local press pool. And in May 2026, the institutional accountability angle of this race completely fractured open.
Reports broke detailing alleged text messages from 2018 and 2019. We are talking about records containing racist, homophobic, and violently threatening language directed at women. Add to that there are allegations that Lamb actually used his badge as sheriff to threaten a leak source with state troopers in 2019 just to keep things quiet. This forced the Pinal County Attorney's Office to launch an official review into how these claims were handled internally. That review concluded on June 10th. And the official, documented finding from the Pinal County Attorney, quote, Lamb benefited from a different standard of review over sexual misconduct and other allegations as sheriff. It confirmed a systemic institutional failure to hold him to the exact same standard as an ordinary citizen or deputy. Now we have to look at the defense here. Lamb himself hasn't said much personally. Instead, his campaign issued statements, flatly dismissing the reporting. They argued that the article relied on a 10-year-old text from a source that couldn't be located, stating, quote, not exactly what one would call quality independent journalism. They were just waving the entire thing off. Meanwhile, Daniel Keenan went straight for the throat. His campaign released a statement that reads, quote, this story only adds to a pattern of disqualifying, disgraceful, and embarrassing behavior unbecoming of a congressman. Keenan is throwing his massive war chest into making sure every primary voter in the East Valley knows exactly what the county attorney found. The primary decision. This all leads us directly to the choice voters have to make. The variables are completely laid out on the table. The timeline is set in stone. Ballots hit those mailboxes on June 24th, and honestly, this race has become the ultimate test case for modern politics. It pits traditional, localized retail campaigning and a heavy cash advantage against a remote media brand, out-of-state vlogging, and an endorsement from Donald Trump. It's testing whether physical absence and complex donor-funded mortgages even matter to the primary base anymore. So will a multi-million-dollar out-of-state media footprint and a presidential endorsement outweigh local cash, a physical presence, and the damning findings of a county attorney? The voters of the East Valley are going to answer that exact mathematical equation on July 21st. I want to know what you think. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for joining Exposing Arizona for this explainer.